Welcome to the Empires Rampart, and welcome to another development update I wanted to do for Project Renaissance. It's been a while. I've been wanting to try and make sure I do a proper update again, especially due to the fact that I think we're like roughly a month away from it being like the 1-year anniversary of us starting this project. I know for the most part, like, one thing I will get out right away is the fact that I know the biggest thing that I can talk about for like what's been going on, because basically the plan for this video is to kind of give an update of like what we have been able to do, and since we're getting close to the like 1-year mark, kind of showcase like the idea of what the plan is for the future. Because recently, I know I've talked about this a little bit in community posts, because most recently we've been switching to a lot more, if there's smaller updates, we put it on the community post on YouTube, or we put that on the community Discord, because it's a lot easier to just like showcase little things there. Is the fact that the battle prototype progress has been slowed a little bit, sadly, just because, hey, work life gets in the way sometimes, and I know our main guy working on that has just been struggling to be able to put more towards the project, so we've been having a little bit less progress on that. I know, I understand that too. My job has been kind of making it a bit harder for me to help with the project as well, but that has led it to, so if we cannot focus on the battle map as my prototype as much, we have been focusing a lot more on the map side of things, the battle map side of things. I know that's something that I've been showcasing a little bit more. The most exciting thing that I can say in that regard, on that front, is I'm going to showcase this little video here as one thing that I think is kind of cool. I'm just going to mute him for right now. If anybody is interested in wanting to actually look at this video specifically and wondering why am I showcasing this, with us focusing on the map side of things, our main guy working on the article and actually found this video, reached out to this guy, because the Sam here is actually making his own game, Blood and Iron, and actually reached out to him about the province tool that he was using here. And he is actually very open to right now being a resource and helping us try and implement his province tool into our game, which is nice. So we are currently in talks with him and working with him, and that is by far like one of the most exciting things right now on the campaign side of things. Is he's already done all of this really fine work on a province side of things, because this is more akin to like a Europa Universalis campaign map, but it still has a lot of useful information for what we would be using as well. So like that's one of the most exciting things more recently, since hey, we can't focus as much on the battle prototype, so hey, we will focus on more of the campaign prototype, where with this and also the map tools we're trying to put together for generating cities and stuff like that, which I can actually kind of get into. That was right here. I'll pause that for right now, because that's like the main cool thing that I know for sure we have going on right now. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to leave a link to this video if you guys want to check it out, and the game that he is making as well. But essentially, because I know we've showcased a little bit of this, but this is kind of an update on the tool we have to help kind of generate cities. This is more so maybe something that we'd possibly be using for smaller cities, or just like having things in the background. It's tools that I know we're going to be needing. I know I know for me specifically, I'm hoping that we'll get enough set up on the map side of things that I do like the idea of us having unique cities for historically accurate for certain settlements. Like London's the best example. London's the best example because we have some assets that we got during the bundle. That's pretty good for a placeholder for now, at least. We might replace those eventually, but it's a good testing ground to kind of see, okay, is this layout going to work all out well, and can I start just making some custom cities for like London? Because I know we want to kind of have that. I always think back of like one of the reasons why Third Age Total War is such a fun game and mod for Medieval 2 is the fact they have amazing battle maps. And that will allow us, like, hey, even if we don't use those specific assets, it will allow us to kind of test unit movement in those maps. So that's like another tool we've been working on. I know we also have another one of our guys is actually working more on the AI logic for campaign side of things. He has his own project that he was working on beforehand, and he's essentially trying to figure out how to eventually be able to port that into the current project, but he's been making progress on that. Besides that, we also have some other little things. Hey, another little random... See, there's a lot of random little things that have been all put together since... Again, I'll remind anybody, if you are interested in joining the project, feel free. The easiest way, because it's just easier for me to keep track of everybody, is to send me an email. I have the email listed in, I think in the description. Yeah, in the description of the videos on the Broken Rampart YouTube channel. That if you want to reach out to me, go there. Also, make sure to check out your emails again, just in case if you guys do, because I know the team and I, we were talking to a guy with some voice acting experience where we really liked his stuff. I'm not showcasing that right now. He did give me an audio sample until, like, if he actually, but I had never heard back from him. We want him to really join the team because the stuff he showcased was really nice. I really loved it. It's one of the speeches I showcased before. He just did a sample of that. It was really good. Really want him to join, but he just never got back to me. So if you guys are interested in joining the project, again, we mainly need more people specifically right now, especially for technical side of things. So if you guys ever have any experience with that, or if you're like willing to learn, I know like Arlequin, I think before the project started, didn't have nearly as much experience as he has now, and he's been doing amazing work on the map side of things. Just because I love his dedication. I love that man. He has been helping out so much. But I'll kind of go through like, hey, here are some of the traits we've been trying to just like, hey, slowly start getting a description together of like, hey, what are we kind of thinking of? Like we would be trying to actually properly implement in as traits for characters. So martial, administrative traits, pure traits, or quirks, pure traits, stuff like that. So kind of just an initial start of what we're thinking for all the traits here for some of these units or some of these not heroes. No. We're not having heroes for these generals. So things have been going slowly. Like I know I was already in this intention, looking into this project when we started. I was expecting it to take time, but it's because I want a good product and I want us to actually be able to make something out of this that I know it's going to take time. Now some people are sad about that fact, but hey, as long as you guys are supporting us, we're going to keep working. We're going to keep giving you updates in the community Discord and everything like that. Slowly but surely, we're making progress, and I just appreciate every time we make we get something that we can properly showcase. It's not always the big flashy things, sadly. I do know. I always love. I think this is one I think I forgot to showcase when it was done because art side of things always amazing. What we're able to get done. There's that one. This was like switching around. I know I always think about this. This really reminds me of like Bannerlord. Is this art style that he was trying a different art style to play around a little bit, where we have that, and this one I really like. You guys probably already see this. I'm probably gonna be using this as a thumbnail because it just looks so fucking nice. It reminds me. They was talking about it reminds me of Age of Empires a little bit too. But essentially, that is my really weird amalgamation of what's been going on recently in the project. Work's just been getting in the way for some of the project members, which sucks. Always sucks when that happens, but that's what happens when this is a volunteer project. If we ever get the funding, I want it to be full time, but again, we just don't have the funding just yet. I know we need to get our battle prototype, our campaign prototype, and then we can try and there's those grants we've talked about in the past, apply for those, and maybe get some proper funding. Any support you guys give to the studio channel on YouTube is always amazing because that is essentially it only really helps pay for the repository, so we have that and we can keep working with that. But yeah, if any support to that channel always helps, makes it easier for us to slowly get some momentum going and maybe slowly build up some funds through that channel. But things have been going well, basically, because again, this is essentially almost kind of like a looking to the future update as well, because we've had the first year of basically it was getting a lot of our systems in place. I like our art flow. That I really appreciate how that is always amazing work from our guys on the art side of things. Been getting more of our things set up for how we are trying to make maps and cities, getting that workflow set up and in place so that, hey, the team is smaller, but as if people want to join, it's a lot easier to bring people back in or bring people in, make it a bit easier for them to understand, like, oh, okay, this is why I've partially been, I know there's been a kind of a talk about, like, should this project be open source or not? The idea is, and I know I've always viewed this, is essentially really trying to stay focused on getting our workflows in order. And when we can get to like the early access release, essentially, because it's basically, especially since I've been playing Thrones of Britannia so much recently on my gaming channel, our first initial release is going to be very similar to that, but because of just, hey, we're trying to make sure we have a limited scope that's realistic to be able to actually ship something, but we want to be able to add and expand that. That the idea it would be maybe once we properly make sure, hey, we have all these workflows in mind, we have an idea of like what's going on, and we can actually support everybody that wants to help support the project. Then if we ever did decide to go fully open source with the code, and I know eventually we probably will want to at some point anyways, just because of modding capabilities, people then be like, oh, hey, we're focusing primarily on the UK, but if people want to be like, hey, I also want to help, I've got more experience in Iberia or France, then technically people could start getting access to our code, start helping us expand, so we're not the only ones working on it. But that's something way in the future at this point in time right now. So I'm not too worrying too much about that. We're making slow, steady progress. I know it's not as fun to not having something as concrete and playable. I know for me, it's just the fact that like I probably got ahead of myself a little bit. The fact that like from my experience with coding, I brute force things more. This is why I've been having to make sure I'm more careful about that. Like, yeah, I probably on my own could have made a very basic ass battle prototype. It's not as good as like what we've been putting together. That's the thing. It's like the one that we're putting together now is way better than anything I personally could put together. And so I think that's okay. Well, the progress is still going along, and I'm hoping you guys are still enjoying this. I think especially this is the most exciting thing for me. As of recently, is the fact that this guy is so open to working with us, not fully joining the team as far as I'm aware, but he's very open to the idea of, hey, being a resource, very open to the idea of essentially right now trying to help make his tool into a plugin that we specifically will be able to get access to, because this is a huge leap in what we'll be able to do for the campaign side of things. Any other mod creators or game developers, if they see this, if you want to work with us, or if we find you, I will gladly want to reach out to be like, hey, collaboration's an amazing thing, and this is the best example of that. And I find it fucking fascinating, because again, we want to make our game, and it's just going to take a while. I know, but it's great when we can find other people that are very excited about that idea and join the resources together. I'm now rambling. I'm sorry. I think I'll be done for right now. I'm hoping this is a good enough update for you guys, that you guys are satisfied to kind of know, hey, project is still going on. We're still alive. We're still working as we can, given the fact that this is a volunteer project. If anybody is interested in joining the team, feel free to reach out to me. If you've reached out in the past and I didn't get back to you, just send me an update email again, just in case, because then I'll just double check that, because I'm pretty sure I always mark everybody, but I have a lot of emails because it also floods with all my crap from my game channel too. But thanks for stopping by, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, but I will see you all next time.